So I think Reforger is the ultimate Cold War fantasy. It has a beautiful Central European looking landscape. The birds are chirping, sun is shining, and you have these really cool looking Cold War vehicles on the road. That's the cool thing about Reforger, is that the landscape is just normal. It's a normal place in which combat happens. It's not extra gritty like you get in war movies. It's just a beautiful landscape, and we have the gameplay in that. So in this video, we're going to check out the BRDM-2. Now, what can you do with that car? Now, it's a armored recon vehicle, and in its in-game purpose in Refrogger, it's think of it like a BTR-70 but shorter. It has, I think, the turret is identical or almost identical to the BTR-70. It has the same weapon on it, or the same two weapons on it. And what makes this vehicle interesting is that it has no sideways entry point. So if you want to get into a vehicle, you have to climb on top of it. So what's really cool about the animation system, the character had the gun out, so he's using a one-handed animation to get up on the thing. Let's see if he does it differently. Okay, he has the gun out, that's why he's doing like that. You know, we have two hatches. We have the driver hatch and the commander hatch. And the gunner does not have his own hatch to get in. Let's get into the driver hatch. Now, I think on this vehicle, the entry animations are the most detailed. And one of my favorite parts is when you get in or out, notice how the character is going to hold on to the left side of the hatch to get out. The way he climbs out of that. And for me, that's one of the coolest features in Refrog on this patch, is that you have these detailed hatch entry animations. Because I think that really, you can of course turn out, like in most other vehicles. Now, okay, you cannot turn out on the driver's seat in this one yet. And the periscopes don't work either, so you have to drive by opening a hatch like that. If you go to the commander seat, you can turn out. So you hold Y, it opens, and your character peeks out like that. And this really sells the illusion of not just being a vehicle when you get into it, it sells the illusion of being a character being inside in a vehicle. I got a searchlight here. Though it's a bit irritating when you use a searchlight, you turn it like that. It also turns the camera. I think it should be completely separate. Like you can counter it by using your mouse, but it's still irritating that it turns like that with it. Okay, let's get back inside. Now there's a fourth passenger seat, which is just a passenger seat like that. And then you go to the gunner seat. And this is, I think, identical to the BTR-70. You have the same type of weapons. You have the PKM machine gun and the KPVT machine gun. Turn it like that. Let's go back to the driver's seat. I think what will make this vehicle, I think this will be one of the most powerful vehicles in conflict mode. I think for two reasons. The first reason is that it has the KPVT, which I think currently can kill anything it can see. It can shoot on helicopters, and it can even take out the LAV-25. And the other advantage it has, it's less imposing than an LAV-25. Which means if a player sees an LAV-25 with its 25mm cannon, it's threatening to players, and they see it as a bigger threat and are more likely to counter it or hide from it. But this vehicle looks a bit more unassuming from a distance. And you can relocate it quickly, and it's the type of vehicle that you can quickly move around the map and do a huge amount of damage and retreat quickly when you're taking fire. And the armor is good enough, like on the BTR-70, to take most 308 rounds, and even some 50 cal rounds at a distance, depending which angle they hit. And the other advantage is, I'm not sure if you get them at the beginning in conflict mode, I haven't tested it yet, is that you don't have the expectation like on the BTR-70 where you have to transport other players to places. So you can straight away go do some combat tasks or recon tasks. And it's just really fun to drive. Like you can really feel the mass of the vehicle and how the engine, you can feel that how the mass accelerates when driving it. And of course the vehicle is also amphibious, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And it's relatively fast. I think it has probably the same top speed like the BTR-70, but I'm not sure if it accelerates a bit faster. I would guess so, but I'm not sure if it has the same engine as the BTR-70. My guess is the BTR-70 has a bit stronger engine. You can see it's going uphill, and I have to shift gear to start accelerating. So the engine isn't too powerful, but it's still really mobile. That's one of the things I like in Refrogger so much, is that, as I explained in, I think, my extremely badly timed video from yesterday, when I complained about animation quality a few hours before they released a huge patch with all the hatch animations. So anyway, in this video I said that in this game you have the, like in most video games, or like in Squad, let's say if you have a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being like basic infantry, pistol, rifle combat, and 10 being main battle tanks and combat jets dropping bombs. And Refrogger occupies that space between 0 and 2. You have infantry, machine guns, mortars, some lighter armored vehicles. And it puts extreme detail, all its focus in that part in this game. I think that's the unique experience we get in this game, especially with the new seamless animation system, where you have continuous animations from getting in, getting out of vehicles. And that's something you don't get in Squad, because in Squad you get the full breadth of different weapon systems, but it doesn't give you, it doesn't let you appreciate the finer details between something. For example, in Squad you can't appreciate the detail between the BRDM-2 and, let's say, LAV-25. Because they're considered throwaway vehicles you use early in the match, and then somebody comes up with a battle tank or with ATGM launchers, and they get deleted pretty quickly. And that's something you get in Refrogger. You get to appreciate the finer details in difference in combat. Okay, and I'd like to show you how it's amphibious. I'll say it's a pretty good off-road vehicle in terms of driving over rocks like that. Okay, let's carefully drive down. It's really fun to drive it like that, because you can really feel the suspension feels just right for the weight of the vehicle. Like, it feels really realistic. I think they really paid attention to fine-tuning the suspension on this one. If you drive in the water, you become amphibious. I think in real life, I'm not sure if you can drive them into the water like that without any preparation. I think different vehicles have different requirements to make them ready for that. See, the engine goes off, and it's actually pretty fast in the water, about 10 kilometers per hour. Which will still take you about 4 minutes to cross this area to the other side of the water. Okay, there's a few things I'd like to show you about nighttime in this vehicle. So you can turn on the dashboard light. Now, it looks nice, but I think the lighting is a bit too overblown. It's a bit too strong. And you got even left signal and right signal lights. It's pretty cool. That's also in this patch. Hazard lights, and then you also have the no, wait, this one. Where's the light switch on this one? The lights, you get high beam lights, and then you can also turn on the searchlight. You go to the commander seat. That's one of the few seats that currently has an animated commander optic. You can get out of the hatch and turn on the searchlight. Now, in theory, that would be a pretty cool thing, so you could illuminate an area during night combat. Now, the problem is, as you can see, it's way too strong, because it makes it actually harder for the viewer to see something is shining the light on. You can see it's way overblown. And it also has a hard cutoff on range, because a light that sits this strong, it will probably illuminate half a kilometer in that direction. But notice here, the light fall off is pretty aggressive. Like after, I think, 100 meters or so, the light cone cuts off like that. I'm not sure if that's going to have a lot of tactical impact in the game at nighttime, but I think it's nice that it's part of the vehicle. Like you have the option to interact with the feature of the vehicle like that.